Well, the NFL giveth and taketh away, and that's exactly what we saw happen in Week 8. Some incredible results, but also some injuries we've got to update you on as you take a look at the notable injuries from Sunday's slate. Up at the top, Jordan Love dealing with a groin injury. He was battling through it throughout the game before Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff decided to pull him. Stefon Diggs waiting on an MRI with a non-contact knee injury. We saw Drake May very early into his professional career pick up a concussion in the win against the Jets as well. Several injuries have things looking a little bit different for our NFL teams going into Week 9. Let's talk about some of these injuries as we bring in our NFL injury analyst, Marty Jaramillo. Marty, let's start with Jordan Love and the Packers. Good news there. The MRI came back with good results. It looks like it's going to be a strained groin, but nothing major. Reports are saying that he's going to be monitoring it throughout the week, but it's a big week to not have your starting quarterback. Of course, the Lions are waiting in the wings here for the Packers. Should we be expecting to see Love on Sunday or maybe another Malik Willis game?
Well, listen, Week 8 and these injuries keep piling up, especially for some key players. Jordan Love had to exit the game with a groin strain, still a minor tear, but possibly small. And he tried to muscle through, and Coach Matt LaFleur knew he was in trouble and chose to have him sit and start getting some rest. Good news, the MRI negative. But here's the test. Today, tomorrow, inflammation, tightness, and spasms set in. So he will have a designation of day-to-day, a lot of pain management. And we just don't know until like Wednesday or Thursday. More to come on that, but I do suspect he does play this week.
All right, we'll keep our eye on it as the week goes on. If not, Malik Willis has been more than serviceable. Of course, he set up that game-winning field goal in the final drive to keep them in the win column there. Meanwhile, it was tough scenes for Houston. So much excitement, Marty, around the acquisition of Stefon Diggs, but obviously the wide receiver suffering what looked like a non-contact knee injury in the final minutes of the third quarter. Still waiting to hear from the MRI results, but what should the Texans be bracing for if they have to deal with life without Diggs?
You know, Houston already thin at the wideout position, just more bad news, not only for the team, but for fantasy managers everywhere. He sustained a non-contact right knee injury, basically running a route. He planted right, cut left, and he grabbed his right knee. You know, despite the physicality of the NFL, 70% of all ACL injuries are non-contact. So that is the figure, that he does have an ACL tear, and that will require surgery, and MRI will confirm that later today. So in the event he needs to have the ACL reconstructed, well, that's an 8 to 10 month recovery, which will make him NFL ready by camp come August of next year. Bad news, though.
Just a tough break there. The Texans on a short week. They got the Jets on Thursday Night Football, so obviously some adjustments going to have to be made for that wide receiver room. And speaking of wide receivers, life comes at you fast in the NFL, Marty. That ringing true for wide receiver Christian Kirk. He began the week as one of the league's top trade targets and now will spend the rest of the season rehabbing a broken collarbone. What does the recovery look like for Kirk in Jacksonville for this and another injury for Christian as his NFL career continues?
Well, Christian Kirk's season is over. He sustained while trying to catch a pass trying to catch a pass. He actually landed, just barely missed it, and he landed completely on his left side, fracturing his clavicle or the collarbone. He just missed that pass from Trevor Lawrence. Now, clavicle fractures sometimes don't have clean edges where they just are set and the fracture heals around it. Oftentimes, those edges are separate, and they have to have surgery to bring those two ends to a union so they have a perfect type of healing response, and the fracture heals perfectly and straight. Even if they had a long playoff run, it's too much of a high risk for a refracture. You need a solid 12 weeks to recover from the stabilization of that fracture, which would make the season over for him. It will come back, no long-term issues.
Good. No long-term issues there is the key. They have the Eagles on Sunday, the Jags do, so a quick turnaround there. We've talked about some bad news when it comes to injuries, Marty, but let's talk about some positive news. Unfortunately, banged-up 49ers team gets it done against my Cowboys last night, so good news if you are a 49ers fan, but the other side of that good news comes with Christian McCaffrey, who's been dealing with that bilateral tendonitis in his Achilles. He has done everything, it seems like, to be back on the field, and it looks like we are trending that way, getting him back in week 10. Just what have you seen out of him as he gets ready to practice this week?
Well, Haley, after this report, the fans everywhere, particularly fantasy managers, might be doing a little happy dance. There's some great news coming out that CMC will be coming back, having battled bilateral Achilles tendonitis. That means both Achilles are affected. And why so long? Well, they essentially heal at different rates. It's been 8 weeks. He even flew to Germany for a non-invasive procedure to help speed things along, and probably didn't help too much. So it looks like he'll begin practicing, already running on flat ground. Great news. He'll be practicing with the team during the bye week. And if all works out and he does continue to respond well, he'll be ready to play against Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2 weeks. Now, there'll be load management, there'll be rep management, but he will be on the field finally.
We will finally get to see the cover of Madden on a football field this year. He is Marty Jaramillo, bringing the latest.
The curse.
Yes, we're going to break that curse coming up, hopefully in week 10. Hey, when it comes to the NFL, you need to be locked in to CBS Sports HQ. We've got it streaming 24/7 news, highlights, scores, and more. Make sure you check us out on the CBS Sports app or streaming on Paramount+.